Okay, let's add those droopy ears to our boots, okay? Do you feel like cheating? I feel like cheating. Let's go ahead and we'll do some cheating, shall we? So on the same mesh that we've been drawing the brush, sorry, the IMM kind of strap brushes over, we'll keep that one and we'll solo it out for now, and we're just going to do some extractions, okay? So don't worry about this kind of wavy bit there. We can just sort of straighten that out a little bit because it is going to make our life slightly easier with the extractions, although your mileage may vary depending upon the quality of the extraction. Okay, it could be quite wavy at the top, but you can just take the extra time now just to kind of straighten that out. Not too much time at all. And so if you go back to our concept art, you can see that it just basically, it's all the way down the side, goes all the way around the back. The only part that it's not kind of visible is at the front. Okay, so we've got to go all the way around basically. And you might think the best way to do that is to actually do maybe a long strap all the way around. But you've seen just how annoying that can be. Now, these floppy ear bits don't have to be as rigid as the straps. The reason why I did the straps with the IMM curve is because the straps, I want to have that rigidity to them and straight edged line to them. The floppy ears of the boot, not playing by the same rules. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and we'll just kind of solo that first, and we'll just kind of paint in here just a general shape of it. Okay, and we can get some of the top in as well. In fact, you kind of want to get just a top edge there, and I'll show you why in a minute. So just basically go around, basically you're almost coloring in where those parts would hang and fold down. So it's like baby's first coloring book exercise. Okay, there you go. Just check to make sure it's roughly the same at the front. You can see I'm way off, so we can tidy the mask up a little bit and something like that. And don't get too hung up about the overall how far down it is and how neat it is. Again, we haven't got the resolution to worry about how neat it is just yet, but just do sort of get just a top layer like this here. Just get some of that in. You don't want the whole top part there, and you just want like the kind of uppermost edge. Just make sure it's even on either side there, and let's just go ahead and see now what kind of extraction we get. And it does remember our kind of settings. You see we get there, so that's a bit too thin. So let's go ahead and we'll try 0.005, and we'll bring the smoothness back down to the default setting of 5 and see what we get. Yeah, okay, not too bad. Let's go to 0.1, see what we get there. It's a bit chunky. Now we do want a bit of chunk, okay, but we also want it quite smooth. So let's get the smoothness up to 100, and yes, I think that's what I'll go with. Bit wibbly wobbly, let's go with it. Okay, so we can see there we've almost got the shape there, but it's very thick, but that's fine because a lot of it is going to kind of get pinched down anyway. Okay, I'm gesturing with my hands, and I only realized then you can't see with my hands, which is a bit silly of me. But anyway, we've got the general shape there, but you know what comes next? That's right, we've got to Z remesh it. Now, just as a little kind of housekeeping here, we do want to just keep a hold of these poly groups. Okay, so we'll go ahead and keep groups, and we'll tell it halve it, and we'll bring the adaptive size down a bit just so it actually does halve it, and we'll Z remesh that. Make sure symmetry is not on here, and there we go. We've got less data to deal with. We'll halve it again, and I'd say let's go for it one more time, and there we go. Okay, so very low polygonal data, and I think now is where we're going to have to hide the trousers for now because it's kind of getting in our way. So now we can just see the boot. See, we got the kind of bunny ears in there. I say bunny ears because I think of the floppy ears that flop down on a bunny, you know. So we've got that there, so we don't have the point. Let's go back to our concept art. We'll see how low they come. They could probably come a little bit lower. We can see in the concept art here, the strap is actually quite low, which looks better than the strap being up high on here. But nonetheless, I think the strap should approximately come down just shy of a third of the boot. Okay, just shy of a third. You can see even in these kind of buccaneer boots, they do also come down quite a bit there, which I don't know. Just feel free to eyeball it, honestly, whatever looks best to you. I'm just going to pull mine down a little bit, but I'm going to keep that kind of arc as it goes up. I'm just going to encourage it up a little bit there. And again, this wouldn't be possible, or it would be possible, but it'd be a lot harder to achieve with such a high polygon density. Okay, and this here is what we want because it kind of spills out the top. Okay, so it was important to kind of get that masked area off as well. We just kind of bring this out a little bit more there, just to give that idea that it is spilling out the top a bit more. Okay, and I would say we could get away with trim dynamicking. Yes, that's a term. Trim dynamicking some of the inside walls here, just to make it a little less chunkier, and get it to kind of fall over a little bit in on itself. Something like that. Okay, just get it to fall over in on itself a bit more. Okay. Right, and then just do one last little check of the shape. Make sure you like it. So that's leant over a little bit. Okay, let's maybe, there we go. Really kind of lean it forward, and we'll just kind of arch it in. Something like that. Okay, now I think we're ready to go ahead and, well, actually, let's see if we can make a point with just what we've got here. Can to a degree, but not too well. But we can do a point to some degree, so we may as well do that. And at the moment, just keep it pretty tight to where it actually sits alongside the shoe right now, the boot right now. And we'll just Z-remesh that just to see how the flow changes. We'll tell it to keep the same amount, but keep groups. Z-remesh it, and it's just ignored us. Okay, let's undo that. Let's turn adaptive size. We'll turn it to 50. And it's still done the same thing. Okay, never mind. That's fine. Let's undo that. We'll just subdivide it. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that done, we can actually afford to pinch these a little bit. Okay, so we'll take our pinch tool, let's take the polyframe off so we can see what we're doing, and we'll just kind of pinch these out. And what we're basically doing is we're just doing this. We see, as we pinch it, it's getting thinner and thinner, and it will sort of leave the shape of the shoes. Okay, it will actually leave the boots at some point. So get it to the thickness you feel they ought to be, the actual thickness, the final thickness if you like, and just go around all the way around now, just basically doing the same thing we did with the sole, and going around getting that same thickness generally all around. Now it doesn't really matter if the rest of the mesh is still a bit thicker up top, because it's just going to clip into the shoe. Okay, we're not going to worry about that, and you can use a bit of smoothing here and there to help you out. Okay, and now what I'd say we want to do now is we want to kind of mask some of this off. We'll do a diagonal, very rough diagonal kind of masking up there. You might be thinking, have I gone completely mad? Not just yet. Okay, although I'm nearly there, I'm nearly mad, I've nearly gone insane, but not quite yet. Okay, we've just softened that mask, and I'm just going to go to the rotation. And where's that rotation gizmo gone? It's up there. Let's unlock it. We'll bring it down here, put it right in the center. Let's frame it up. Okay, it's a little bit back there, so this is why it's important to frame it. There we go. Let's bring it a bit more forward. Now that should be almost in the middle of where we need it to be, maybe a bit more forward. Let's lock it again, and we'll just rotate it and flare it out. Rotate it, flare it out, and you can even kind of push it out a little bit. What has that done? Let's go back. There you go. It's pushed that ear off the shoe, off the boot. Okay, now it's a bit kind of goopy here at the moment. It's a bit kind of inflated. Don't worry about that. We'll come in and fix that later. So let's do the same thing on this side. We'll mask off roughly half the boot, and we'll just draw a diagonal line up there. And the diagonal line basically just helps keep the fold a bit more natural looking than if it was just a kind of parallel straight edged. So we'll go to rotate again. We'll unlock this guy. We'll bring him over to the other side. Let's lock him, and we'll rotate it, and that way, and then we'll pull him out. Okay, so you can actually see what that looks like now with the rest of the boot there. Okay, now it is going to cause this kind of effect there. Again, don't lose any sleep over it. That's easily fixed with our wonderful move topological brush. Okay, so again, you can see that that volume has been retained. It's just still clipped in the boot. Okay, so you can pull that out as much as you like. But the best thing here is that we've now got those ears separated, and you can of course still manipulate them with the move tool. That's fine. Just be aware of the thickness being lost as you do that. Okay, just try to be careful as much as you can of that. And of course, you guessed it, it's long overdue for a bit of trim dynamic action. Will come in there, and again, like we did before, this polygroup here is a separate polygroup. You can mask that off so you can have at it on the upper surface there. Okay, and as you trim dynamic it, you can see it's just basically getting rid of that inflated look that we had there before. Okay, because this is quite flat and floppy. It's a loose bit of leather that's just over the top, so it kind of wants to almost be concave rather than convex. Okay, so you want it kind of in on itself and smooth it, obviously. So now we've got that lovely kind of curve that flicks out just at the bottom, and then we'll do the same on this side here. Feel free to be quite what can we say, bold with your strokes, because there's a lot of kind of volume there to take care of, and that's just left over from the extraction that we did there. Okay, and then smooth that out. Perfectly done, perfectly nice, all good, happy. Okay, there we go. Okay, the only thing I want to change about this is just here. I want to take that off first. I just want to bring that, I mean, it's interesting, it's not a big deal, but I just kind of want this to be level with the outside shell at the moment, which it's not. So I can just take that and just pull it down just so slightly. But it's not a big deal, because actually that might be a bit more realistic the way it was. Okay, smooth it out. Okay, so now would be a good time, I would suggest, to crease it. So if we look at our polys and we crease, it should just crease those edges there. Some of them doesn't quite work, so we might need a bit more convincing. We'll just tell ZBrush with the pinch tool, we'll undo that, solo it out again, and just tell it to pinch, not too much, but just some of these edges here. Okay, and it should be able to eventually pick up on what you're trying to crease. Okay, so let's try creasing again, and still not quite picking up on it. That's a bit disappointing. Maybe a bit more. Crease. Nope, not quite working out. That's fine. It's no big deal. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We can just pinch the rest of it like that. Okay, that's fine. So this part here, we just want to tidy this up a little bit. We want to kind of make sure that flows like that. So it just comes out the top, spills out the top like that. It doesn't just clip, it actually spills out the top. And there you go. Okay. And it's up to you what you think now. We could, whether or not you like the shape to be that thick at the top. If you don't, of course you can come and trim dynamic that, but just be careful what effect that does have. Okay, I think we could just vary it up a little bit just with the trim dynamic tool. It's not going to be identical all the way around, so to add a bit of realism, we just kind of trim dynamic some areas but leave some other areas untouched. So just at random here, just kind of, oops, try not to go through the mesh underneath. But then again, if you do, it's no big deal. Just use your move tool or your standard brush and you can solve that pretty quickly. Okay, smooth that out. Maybe a bit on the end there. And so if the kind of boot's getting in the way, just standard brush that away. Okay. Now remember, this is all working on the dummy one, the one that we had the we deleted the subdivisions for. So actually what we could do now, let's bring the rest of it back, and can you see there that now that we've got the other elements in play, actually having the flaps that high and the strap that high is not working out for me. I don't like that. So what we can do here is let's mask off that strap. So the whole strap, go to the boot, we'll unmask that, and essentially, so we can see that, and we'll just say group mask. You could actually just go to auto groups, I believe. There you go. It recognizes that as a separate group anyhow. And we'll just select this guy, mask him, and then invert the mask. There you go. And now we'll just move him down to where we want. We can play around with the position of that, unlock that, Let's click on that. Normal. What did I do? I did something wrong. Oh dear. Solo, no. Where's the move to? There we go. So, unlock, alt, click, don't Z or X click, whatever I did there. Let's just adjust the angle a little bit so it's a bit more on the normal we're trying to move down. We'll lock it down and reflect the mask, invert the mask, sorry, and let's just move it down. So where does it look a bit better? It looks a bit better, I think, there. Would you guys agree? I think that looks a bit better there. Maybe you could just squeeze it in a bit. I think that looks better there. But actually, having said that, I feel like these need to be bigger as well. So let's use the same tool. We'll make sure nothing is masked. So just mask empty space. Bring the gizmo out, unlock it. Let's put it into the center, because that's the center. And that's fine where it is. We'll lock it again, and we'll just enlarge it. We'll bring it down and see if that has a better aesthetic. Yes, I think so. Let's bring the rest of the character back. Oh, we got to bring the trousers back. We did hide the trousers. The character's been there the whole time, but her trousers have not been. So what does that look like? So we can see that's pretty large. So maybe actually smaller. Something like that, perhaps. Maybe, let's see, let's undo it. Let's go back to the original size. That's the original size. I think that's good already. Anything bigger than that is going to look a bit weird. So that's okay. So that means we have to come back to the strap and just kind of get the strap in a place that we want it to be in. It's hard to say. And maybe it could actually sit halfway. That's not too bad. About halfway might be quite nice, actually. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so with that poly group, let's select the shoe. We'll invert it because we don't want to. Remember, that's the dummy boot that we copied. So let's go to geometry. We will modify topology and delete that because our real boot is there. Okay. Fabulous. And of course, the trousers are clipping with the foldy ear bits, but again, that's normal because it's a work in progress. Okay. So there you go, guys. There's the shoes. Well, the boots kind of basically somewhat done. That's the basic idea and shape of them. I'm quite pleased about. I'm actually pleased I've managed to make a shoe or a boot that hasn't got laces on it. I'm not so sure about the overall length of them here. I do feel like looks a bit strange there. I think I will have to revisit that, but for now I'm keen to move on to the gloves, take a bit of a break from the boots. We'll go to the gloves and we'll do some nifty things with the gloves.